Hello and welcome to the Film Pulse podcast. This is episode number 458. My name is Adam Patterson. With me today, we got Kevin Rakestraw. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, it's going pretty well. I'm in the process of moving, so it's been a little crazy. That's why we had off last week. This week on the show, however, we're trying to make up for it. We have two reviews lined up with Hellraiser and Mona Lisa and the Blood Moon. We'll also be going over some of what we've been watching on the watch list and this week's new releases in theaters, VOD, and Blu-ray. Thank you so much for joining us this week. Please remember to review us on iTunes if you get a moment. That'd be great. I think we can just jump straight into our first review. Which one do you want to start with?
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me.
Oh, well, let's go with Mona Lisa because that's what we were planning on uncovering originally last week, and then I just didn't have time with the move and everything. So let's start with that one.
Hit me.
I have a synopsis here. A girl with unusual powers escapes from a mental asylum and tries to make it on her own in New Orleans. This is directed by Ana Lily Amirpour, also written by her. Stars Kate Hudson and John Jong-seo. Craig Robinson's in there as well. Kevin, we'll start with you. What were your initial impressions of Mona Lisa and the Blood Moon?
The initial impressions is I had no expectations for this.
Nor did I.
I really did not like her last movie, The Bad Batch. So expectations were fairly low.
I like her as a director, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I also did not like The Bad Batch. But sorry, continue.
Yeah. But I got to say, I was pleasantly surprised by this. This felt like a throwback to me, where it's just there's this woman who has powers. Do they explain the powers? How she got the powers? Nope. She just has them. And she's just in New Orleans, and that's it. That's it.
Yep. I had an absolute blast with this movie. I thought it was fantastic. I like you, I did feel like it was kind of a throwback, and I just appreciated it for what it was. It's not trying to be this big, grandiose spectacle or anything like that. It's very stripped down, but it's just so much fun. Like, I just had a great time with it.
Yeah, and it's still got her style. The visual flares that there's, especially when she escapes the asylum and like makes her way to New Orleans. It's fantastic looking. And it's fun. It's also fun. This isn't super serious.
No.
I mean, it does get serious in spots, but for the most part, it's just her having powers and people using them or not using them.
Yep.
And people trying to find her. That's it. It's a super simple movie, and it's fun, and it's good.
It is fun and good. It subverts your expectations in a lot of ways, too. You think that, certain characters are going to act a certain way or be a certain archetype, and they're not. And I think that that's another thing that I appreciate about her movies is that she tends to want to go against the grain when it comes to tropes. And that definitely happens with this, specifically with like the Kate Hudson character and the Ed Skrein character. Like you think that they're going to go one way and they go a different way. And I definitely appreciated that. I love the Ed Skrein character, by the way, as Fuzz.
Yes. He
seemed to be channeling Franco's character from Spring Breakers in this. What was his name in that? Like Alien or something?
Yeah, I think it was the Alien.
But he definitely seemed to be channeling that type of person. And he did a great job as that character. I thought he was hilarious. And I just loved his car and his house and all of that stuff. And I think that leads me to one of my favorite things about this movie, and that's just the visuals, the production design, and the production design and the cinematography. I thought were absolutely fantastic through and through. Like, I loved it. Like, this is my jam right here. You have these gorgeous wide shots, like specifically the convenience store. I loved every time they would cut to a wide shot. The fisheye, there's lots of fisheye, like handheld fisheye in this, which I think complements the locale, the New Orleans locale, like really, really perfectly. and lots of color in this. You know, like a lot of the scenes take place at night, but it's still kind of like bathed in color, and it's just very vibrant. And I like that a lot about it too. Just a gorgeous movie overall.
Yeah, it seems like we don't get a lot of those types of movies where you kind of have that, like you said, it's nighttime, but it's nightlife.
Mm-hmm.
It's the city nightlife with all the lights and everything.
Yeah. It's very
great.
It's very
palette.
electric. There's lots of life in it, and I liked that a lot. Some of the production design, like I mentioned, Fuzz's house and like the hospital that is there's a couple scenes that take place in a hospital that look crazy. I mean, it's just awesome. Like, just the visuals in this are just so good. I loved every second of it.
Yeah, and I don't know what it is, but I just really appreciate her not explaining the powers. There's no backstory.
Yeah, and
she got the powers.
Yeah, and at one point, someone asks her, I think it's the kid, I can't remember, but someone asked her, like, you know, how did you get the powers? And she's like, I don't know. And then that's it. That's the end of it.
Yeah.
And also, you know, also with a lot of these movies where you have like kind of an indie sci-fi movie like this, there's usually some kind of build up to like, you know, a big culminating scene at the end, but that's not really how this plays out. And I appreciated that too. Like, I didn't feel like it needed to escalate into this big crescendo at the end where, like, you know, she goes on a killing rampage or anything like that, or like picks up a bus or something, you know, like usually there's something like huge that happens at the end of these movies during the climax. And that's not the case here. It's very understated. And I appreciated that. I liked how it ended. I was a little concerned as I was watching it, like, how's she going to wrap this up? I don't know. But what she did with it, I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I gotta say, I was completely surprised by this. I mean, I could easily see this being like a cult classic type deal.
Yeah, this is a sleeper. This is definitely a sleeper hit. Because I didn't hear. Granted, I've been out of the loop for a few weeks, but I didn't hear much buzz or talk about this.
No,
and I feel like people are sleeping on it, and they shouldn't be, because it is well worth a look. And the other thing is, it's a Saban Films release, which is kind of weird too, because Saban usually doesn't. Now they're kind of one of the only players in like the mid-tier, like mid-budget movie, and this is definitely I would say a mid-budget movie. Like, there's some larger names in it, and clearly there was a lot of work put into making it look great and stuff. So there's definitely a budget here. But it's still a weird, like, Saban usually doesn't release this kind of movie.
Yeah. And I think that's another thing, that even if there's not buzz for this movie or discussion about it, I'm kind of surprised that there isn't more discussion of Kate Hudson.
I know, she's so good in this.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like a great role for her. And I feel like I haven't seen her in anything.
Exactly. That's kind of
really
what I'm thinking. I'm
notable.
like, I can't remember the last time I saw Kate Hudson in something.
Yeah. I mean, she's going to be in Glass Onion, which, you know, but that doesn't come out till towards the end of the year. And yeah, she's been in stuff, but like just smaller things. And this is like a standout performance for her as Bonnie.
Yeah, I think it's just no one's seen it.
Yeah. Craig Robinson too. He was great.
Yeah.
In this too. I mean, he was funny, but he wasn't like over the top or anything. It was good. This is definitely a movie that I could see myself rewatching, which is kind of a rare thing these days.
Yeah.
Because it's just, I had so much fun with it. And again, just love that cinematography. She did such a good job.
Yeah,
to be clear, the Bad Batch looked great too. Like, I remember that the visuals in the Bad Batch were awesome. It's just that it was so unremarkable as far as the narrative, but here it checks all the boxes.
Yeah, and I think she just has this everything comes together in terms of like creating an atmosphere that you don't get to see in movies a lot nowadays. Or I should say in the movies that I'm watching. Maybe there are more out there. But the atmosphere is just like the nightlife.
Mm-hmm.
It's like after a certain time frame of night where it's just the freaks are out.
Yeah. I
The
love
freaks
it.
are out.
Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah. Highly recommend this. Don't let this one slip by. I think it needs to get more love. And it's fantastic. And we didn't mention Jeon Jong-sil, who is the main character. She does a pretty fantastic job too. You may know her from Burning, or if you watched the Korean Money Heist on Netflix, the Korean version of Money Heist. I didn't see that. I saw Burning, but yeah, she's great in this as well. So I love the costume design on this too. Like, just all the outfits seemed so perfect.
Yes.
I mean, she did such a great job. I mean, like, again, I think that you could easily draw comparisons to Harmony Korine with Spring Breakers, or even like Sean Baker. I think would be a good comparison, where they're able to kind of capture that culture. I love it. Like, you know, like black lights and like airbrushed posters of mushrooms and that type of thing. The only thing that I noticed, or didn't notice rather, was there's a scene when Ed Skrein opens his fridge, and I didn't see any Four Locos in there. I feel like there should have been some Four Locos.
He already drank them.
Oh, probably, yeah.
He does. Yeah, he doesn't have a stock of them. As soon as he comes in possession of them, gone.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. Yeah. Any final thoughts on Mona Lisa and the Blood Moon?
No, I think I just reiterate what you said. Is don't miss. I think this is one of the sleepers of the year.
Yeah, just don't go into it expecting some kind of like crazy balls out action movie or anything like that. It is more. No, it's more of a character piece, and it just does such a good job at what it sets out to do.
I think it's just really good as a throwback without. It doesn't seem like it's operating in that lane of like, I'm going to create a throwback.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it comes off, you know, like just riddled with nostalgia. This is just something that works, and then you're like, oh yeah, you know what? On the flip side, it works as a throwback too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's great. All right, let's go ahead and give it a score. I'm sitting at like, man, I am pretty high on this one. I'm at like an 8.5.
I put myself at like a 7.5, I think.
All right. So definitely check that out. It is on VOD right now, so you can give it a look, and I would highly recommend it. Mona Lisa and the Blood Moon. Let's move on and talk about our next film, Hellraiser. This is the new one that dropped on Hulu this past week. I have a synopsis here. A take on Clive Barker's 1987 horror classic, where a young woman struggling with addiction comes into possession of an ancient puzzle box, unaware that its purpose is to summon the Cenobites. This is directed by David Bruckner. Now, David Bruckner is a guy who I've been keeping an eye on this fella, because he did Southbound, which we both liked quite a bit. He did segments in the VHS series, the first VHS. He did The Ritual, which was I think that was a Netflix movie. Liked that quite a bit. And then before this, he did The Night House, which was a surprise. That was a movie that I watched it on an airplane, just on a whim. And I came away from that. That's the one with Rebecca Hall. Liked that quite a bit. So I think that this is an interesting guy to keep an eye on. I had no expectations going into this movie. Anyone who's a fan of the Hellraiser franchise will know that pretty much anything past the second Hellraiser is garbage. I think the third one has its moments and is pretty fun, but I wouldn't call it a good movie by any stretch. And everything past that is just straight to video trash. So yeah, I didn't have any expectations going into this. They were low, very low expectations, especially because the recent Texas Chainsaw reboot or sequel or whatever you want to call it that dropped on Netflix a while back, like that was so bad. I just, I don't know. I wasn't really feeling this, but I was hopeful because I am such a fan of the series and especially the first one. And I gotta say, like, for what it is, it's not too bad. I have issues with it, definitely, and we'll get into it. But I was kind of surprised at how much I enjoyed this. There's no comparison to the original or even the sequel, Hellbound, but for what it is, I think it's it's a pretty effective little horror movie. What were your initial impressions?
I think I slightly disagree with you. I think I did. Like, of course, my expectations weren't that high either. Like, the original Hellraiser is one of the best things ever. It's just incredible. So I'm just kind of reluctant to begin with. And then I remember like texting you afterwards where I'm just like, this was about nothing. Like, I know that you're going to make some changes to the original, you know?
A lot. In this case, yeah. A lot.
Yeah.
Basically everything.
The thing that I knew going in, the biggest change that I knew that there was going to be is I just knew in this day and age that it wasn't going to be like as sex forward as the original was. Because, I mean, it all comes down to, in the original, the woman's like, all right, we got to kill people so you can get skin back and then we can start having sex again. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the main reason that she starts doing this, because she's just desperate to have sex with this man again who doesn't have skin in the moment. I get him some skin, boom, they're back in business. I knew that wasn't going to be a part of this movie. Not in this day and age. It's just not going to happen. But I thought it would be replaced with something. And to me, it felt like it wasn't. Like, there was just nothing. Like, she accidentally comes across a puzzle box. And then she's like, oh, shit. We got to try and end the puzzle box thing. And that's about it. And it just goes on forever. And nothing real. I was honestly waiting for something to happen about like an hour or so in, and just nothing yet really happened. It's just a huge disappointment for me.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I wouldn't say it wasn't necessarily disappointment for me just because I had there was nothing, there's really nothing for me going into it. It is overly long. It's 2 hours long, unnecessary. I don't know why it's so long. I completely agree. The whole point, the whole story about Hellraiser is that line between pleasure and pain, and it's like ultimate sensory experiences, and that whole Hellraiser mythos, like everything that Clive Barker created in his short story is completely lost in this. And I think that it is trying to like redesign the Hellraiser story for like a woke culture, and it just doesn't work because everything feels so lacking as a result. You strip away the underlying things that make Hellraiser, and you just leave the Cenobites. And I think any fans of the series will know that that's not really, like, that's a part of it, but that's not really the thing that makes Hellraiser so creepy and it gets under your skin in that way. With that being said, the new design, or the new Cenobites that are on display here, the new Pinhead, I liked Jamie Clayton as wait, that's her, right? Yeah, that's her.
Yeah. But so does Jamie Clayton do the voice?
Yeah, it was just altered.
Because the voice just reminded me of. It sounded exactly like whatever the Stranger Things.
Vecna.
I can't. Yeah, it sounded like Vecna. It sounded exactly like Vecna. And I was like, do they have the guy that did the voice of Vecna doing the voice of Pinhead?
Yeah, you can hear. Jamie Clayton was from Sense8. If you saw that show on Netflix, and yeah, you can hear her voice in there, but they just modulated it and changed it around a bit. I think she's a good new Pinhead. Like that was good. The design on the other Cenobites for me was like a little bit hit and miss. They looked
Yeah.
they definitely they looked different than what fans of the original series are used to, in that it's less like leathery and
It's more haute couture.
yeah,
It's like they have fashion in this other dimension.
exactly, and it's very plasticky too. Like everything looks kind of plasticky, and I wasn't really into it. Like the creature work, that like the actual creatures, I thought were fine. Like they looked cool. You know, you have like the teeth chatterer, and all of that stuff in there, and I thought that a lot of the actual makeup design looked quite good. But like just like the outfits and like what they were wearing and stuff, it didn't quite really fit what I was kind of hoping. Like when I think of Hellraiser, I think of like 90s industrial, you know, like that kind of goth leather spikes, that whole thing. And that really wasn't present here in these. So that was another bit of a bummer. But yeah, you know, they weren't too bad.
No, the Weeper was really good.
Yes.
I could have used more Weeper.
Yes, the
I don't
Weeper.
need the chatty teeth guy. Because he's just kind of boring. He just has chattering teeth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which seems kind of like everyone has like a very distinct, like numerous modulations and like tent poles stuck through their faces and shit. And he's just like, my teeth chatter.
He's been a kind of a mainstay in the whole series.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's been in all of them pretty much.
Something about chattering teeth just gets people.
The other thing that's just not quite as good as the original is just the whole plot of this, like the whole narrative. It feels
nothing.
It feels much more like a slasher movie than it does a Hellraiser movie. What you have here is like this, like the synopsis says, there's this young woman, she gets the puzzle box, and like she's trying to like protect her friends and her family basically, as they stupidly end up getting like in this version, when you solve one of the configurations, it like a little spike comes out and cuts you, and that's what basically designates you the next target for the Cenobites. So that's a little different than the original, but it's just not very interesting. It's a little bit lackluster. Now, what I will say is the effects work I liked quite a bit, and every time a new person would get targeted, I thought that was where the movie really kind of shines. Like
it shines, but it's also lackluster in that regard too, because there's just not like, the first targeting essentially happens off screen. Or no, not the first. I should say the first because there's the very first one. I'm thinking of the first one that involves
right.
It just, a lot of it felt like it was just because the only one that they really show like getting, where they tear the soul apart or whatever, isn't one of the actual characters. It's just one of the Cenobites, which felt like a cop out to me.
I like that little twist that they were able to do that with the Cenobites. I thought that was kind of cool, but I see your point about it being a bit of a cop out. There's a scene where, so it like the other movies, when the Cenobites come, they basically kind of break reality and create doorways out of areas that may not be actual doors, like in walls and stuff like that. And probably one of the most interesting scenes in this movie is when one of the people gets targeted, they put her in a van and they're driving and they're trying to get away from her. And the Cenobites are able to like create a doorway in the van. But the way that the effect of that looked so cool. It was probably one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie. And I liked most of the effects work. It seems like they tried to do things practically as much as they could. So it's not like the CG is not like overused, I don't think. I think that they tried to do practical effects as much as possible, and I appreciate that too. But yeah, I mean, it's like compared to the other Hellraiser movies, I still think it's probably the third best in the series. There's some fun kills in here. There's some gore. The machine I did like the whole like where if you complete all the configurations, you get to meet with like their god or whatever, and then you can pick one of the configurations to apply to you, and everything that happened with what's his name, Goran Visnik's character Voight, like that machine that was in him. I thought that was cool. It was a cool design. So there were definitely elements that I liked, and I was entertained by this overall. I just didn't think it was anything too special.
Yeah, it's completely unremarkable to me and unmemorable.
It is definitely. I mean, I watched this on Friday. We're recording this on Monday, and it's large portions I think are already leaving my brain. So it's again 2-hour runtime, guys. Not necessary.
Everything is prestige.
Especially
they just assume is longer, I guess.
Especially because like not a lot happens in this movie. Like it's mostly just a group of 20-somethings stuck in a mansion, continuously solving the puzzle and calling on the Cenobites. That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, but even that doesn't happen until like an hour or so into the movie.
And the characters are just not that compelling either. They're not horrible, but they're just not. No. They're not very.
They just don't really have.
Not a lot to them.
Personalities. No, they don't have personalities. They're just upset with Riley because she's an addict.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Well, you got to include that whole thing in there, you know.
Yeah.
You haven't seen the addiction metaphor in a while. And by a while, I mean like 2 weeks. Yeah, it's fine. Cinematography I thought was good. I think it's a good looking movie overall. Maybe some of the specific designs I wasn't a fan of, but like just in general, I thought it looked good.
Again, we just need some color. Stuff needs to happen in the daytime.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let's have a skinless guy crawling around on a wooden floor with lights on. That shit's creepy. This shit just happening at night and you can't really see anything. Like, oh, big
yeah, and I think that's cool. A big thing that needs to be discussed and compared with the original. This is not scary. The original one is very scary. It's very creepy. It's like it makes your skin crawl. The original one,
very disturbing.
It's very disturbing. This one, no, not really. No, not a lot going on in this one that would disturb you. I mean, there's some gore. Yeah, like sure there, and like the thing that like tweaks that dude's nerves. Like that's creepy. That's a little, you know. Yeah. That'll make you shudder a little bit when you see it. But,
yeah, and that guy getting his arm degloved.
Oh yeah, the degloving. Yeah.
That was the only thing where I was like, goodness.
Yeah, so there's definitely gore and stuff, but it's just nowhere on the same level. We're not on the same level as the first two Hellraiser movies, and those two are just so far superior to this. But I hope that maybe this will put things in the right direction for the series, because all of those straight to video Hellraiser movies were so bad. The last one, especially the one where I think it was the last one where they switched out Doug Bradley for another actor, and it was like laughably bad. I mean, it was so horrifically bad. I can't remember which one that was. If it was like, wasn't Hell World? I don't know, but that series got so ridiculous. They just ran it into the ground. I'd be curious to know what Clive Barker thinks of this reboot.
Yeah,
because I bet he doesn't like it. I bet he's like, what happened to all the crazy sex torture stuff?
I mean, yeah, it does seem to be a very, very big part of the entire thing. Which I understand, like, okay, moving away from Clive Barker, let's make it something like they didn't.
Exactly. All right, well, let's go ahead and give this a score. What are you going to give Hellraiser 2022?
Oh, Jesus. I don't know. A 4.
All right, I'm going to give it a 5.5. So just pretty much average for me.
I think I would amend mine to a 3.
Okay, I'm dropping it down. All right.
4 just seems way too high.
If you want to see this, it is on Hulu. So if you have a Hulu subscription, you can give it a look there. Let's move on and talk about some of what we've been watching. I believe it's your turn this week, Kevin.
Okay, I watched Scott Cooper's Antlers.
Hey, I saw this.
Antlers. My expectations again were too high for this. From most of what I read, is people did not like this, so I was just like, whatever. See how this plays out. But I was actually kind of surprised by this. This was I found to be disturbing, and I mean it has that kind of that the whole metaphor of like meth and stuff affecting this small town or whatever, and various people being abused and whatnot. So it has that aspect, but it didn't feel like it was constantly reiterating that metaphor. It was one of those things where I could just kind of not pay attention to that and just kind of pay attention to the Wendigo aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it worked. It was unsettling. It was creepy. And I mean, at the end of the day, that's really all I was hoping from Antlers, and that's what it gave me.
I liked this too. I thought this was pretty good. I would recommend checking out some Antlers. Do it.
Definitely.
All right. I didn't have a whole lot of time to see anything really, because I'm also working on Saved by the 90s, and we're doing Stephen King stuff for that. So I've been watching those. I did watch a couple other things that were at Fantastic Fest that I didn't talk about last time. And the first one I'll mention is Everyone Will Burn. This is directed by David Hebrero. This is kind of a disturbing Spanish film that involves a young girl. Actually, I don't know how old she is. She's a teenager, but she's like, I think she has dwarfism, and she has powers. She can yeah, sort of like Mona Lisa, I guess. But she can do things. She has like telekinesis. She has like pyrokinesis, and she could pretty much control people, do whatever she wants. And so it's this woman who her son, her young son, committed suicide, and years later she still hasn't been able to like cope with it, and she decides that she's gonna commit suicide. This teenager just kind of shows up and saves her, or talks her down basically, and the woman takes her in, starts to like kind of treat her as her daughter, and eventually the townsfolk get wind of this and like realize that this girl has powers, and they want to try to stop her. And there's this like kind of a culty thing going on. There's this like prophecy. It's interesting, but it just doesn't go quite far enough. Like, it's a little bit bonkers, and it hints at like really crazy shit, and there are a couple scenes that are pretty wild, but by and large it's just kind of a little bit lackluster. It's shot quite well. I like the story in and of itself. I think is compelling, and it's a decent movie. But I just wish that it leaned a little bit more into the just crazy, out of control nature of it. Like it feels like it's being held back. But yeah, maybe a light recommend. Everyone Will Burn is the title.
Keep an eye out for that one.
Yeah. A lot of people do have
Burned
very
up.
bad things happen to them.
Burned up. In anticipation of the new Mike Flanagan series coming to Netflix, decided to watch one of his films. So we watched his debut, Absentia, from 2011. The low budget debut, Flanagan. I gotta say, I was quite taken with this, especially for knowing what the budget is, and it being, you can tell right off the bat this is a low budget indie horror movie. But I think, in spite of that, it works really well. It has a creepy atmosphere to it. Has like a nice little hint at like a folklore aspect of like these like abandoned tunnel situation, almost like a precursor to Us, where the American network of all these abandoned tunnels and how they line up with people disappearing. And of course, the police in this area not really caring because the type of people that are disappearing just, they don't jump on it. And I gotta say, it was creepy enough, despite its budget. And I think overall, it's pretty damn good.
All right.
So I would also recommend that one. I mean, it's not going to blow you away, but you can definitely see, like, watching the later Flanagans and stuff, and then going back and seeing this, you can be like, okay, yeah, you can see that this dude had talent.
Yeah. I remember not liking this, but maybe I need to revisit it because I don't know. I don't remember anything about it really.
Well, it's like this woman, her sister comes to spend time with her because her husband's been missing for 7 years. So she's in the process of declaring him dead in absentia, so she can get life insurance and everything, because you have to wait 7 years. So she's finally going to do it and get the ball rolling on everything and kind of move on with her life. But of course, the day of, dude shows up, but he's not the same. Something's going on, and then it gets into that a little bit, and it's pretty fucked up.
Cool. All right. I saw The Third Saturday in October, Part 5. This is directed by Jay Brolson. This is a throwback to 90s, supposedly like 90s slashers, I guess. The whole premise here is that it is the fifth in a franchise that's like been totally worn out. It's sort of like a mocking Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street. These franchises that just kept going and going and going, and like Hellraiser, running them into the ground. And the thing is, though, it's like it doesn't really capitalize too much on that idea. Like at the end of the day, it just feels like not a very good slasher. And it's like, okay, if you're setting out to make a bad slasher, like do something interesting. Don't just make a bad slasher on purpose, because who's going to like that? Now, there are some interesting aspects to this. It doesn't really feel like it's set in the 90s to me. Like it still kind of looks like it. I mean, it's shot on digital. I wish they would have done something to make it look more authentic. It does at times, but I don't know. It was okay. As far as a slasher goes, it was fine. Nothing like it was intentionally bad, but it was still kind of fun. I wasn't buying the whole like, oh, this is the fifth in a series, that whole thing. Now,
Mm-hmm.
in in conjunction with this, the director also made the third Saturday in October the prequel. He made it like right after this one. So I didn't watch that. So this one, so the fifth part takes place in the 90s. The first one takes place in the 80s. So maybe that one is more fun or better. I don't know, but it's just they're average, I would say. I think horror fans will enjoy them. I would say it's sort of like Dude Bro Party Massacre 3, but I think it's better than Dude Bro Party Massacre 3.
Honestly, it just sounds like you're saying a bunch of words together.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure if I believe this is a movie.
Yeah, they are.
I think sometimes you're just messing with me,
Mm-hmm.
just to see if,
Just like
to see if I
making up
know.
movies
Yeah.
to see if you'll
Like, let's see if you
you'll
ever
call me
picks
out
up
on it.
Been phoning it for like the last 4 years.
Just keep.
It's made up whole franchises, directors.
I have seen a couple TikToks where people recommend movies on Netflix that aren't even real. Like I've seen that come up before.
Oh my. Well, I guess that's a good segue from my last one because I wish this wasn't actually a movie that you could watch. But I'm here to tell you about it so you don't make the same mistake I did, and that is waste 90 minutes. But that's what it says. It says 90 minutes. The real feel runtime on this is like an absorbent amount of hours. It just goes on forever. I think I'm still watching it actually.
It's just
Trapped in a perpetual
paused.
hell of my own making. That's The Snare from 2017. The Snare, directed by C.A. Cooper. This is on Tubi. This is maybe
just
the
gonna
first thing I
say.
watched. The first thing I watched on Tubi that sucked so much. This is one of those things where, like, this messed me up for like a day or so. Not because it's like a disturbing horror movie or anything like that. It just messed me up because it was like, how did I make such a bad decision? Like, I felt really bad about myself for like a day and a half. Just like, man, I've made a huge mistake in my life. I wish there was some way I could rectify it. And I guess the only thing that I can do to redeem myself is to let you know about it so you never watch it. So it's called The Snare. It's on Tubi. Don't ever type those letters into the search bar and just act like it doesn't exist. It's absolutely terrible. It makes no sense, not a lick of sense. And it's not in a fun way where they're just like, we're just doing stuff. It feels like it wants to be about something, but just visually, it's just in terms of visual storytelling, it's just absolute gibberish. Like things happen, and then something will happen directly after it that just completely you just saw null and void. So you're like, okay, so was that actually a thing that happened? And then like that's the whole end of the movie. It's just a series of that where you're like, oh, okay, this is happening. And then immediately it's like, okay, that didn't happen, I guess. I don't know. Is this happening? Oh, okay, that didn't happen. Everything is in maybe someone's head, but maybe not. Like, it's just absolute garbage. Just garbage. Perhaps one of the worst movies I've seen in a long, long, long time. I'm so angry with myself.
That sucks. The Snare.
It's been a while that I've had a movie that I've watched a movie that made me feel like really bad about myself. Like, what kind of person am I that I would make this decision? I should be smarter.
Yeah, I feel that a lot. I feel that all the time. I make bad decisions with movies on a almost weekly basis. All right, let's take a look at what we have in theaters this week. Halloween Ends is the biggie. I guess we'll be... yeah, that's going to be on Peacock, too.
Peacock?
Yeah, it's going to be on Peacock also.
Peacock?
Mm-hmm.
How about that?
Yeah. Wait, was the last one? The last one was on Peacock, too, wasn't it? It was, or it was some kind of like... Because I don't think we saw that in the theater, did we?
I did. I know I did.
Oh, okay, then I must have, too.
I always forget that Peacock's a thing.
So do I. I mean... I did a trial of it one. I'll probably do another trial to watch this movie. But yeah, it doesn't really have a lot to offer. There's a couple things on there. I mean, I'm assuming we're going to review this next week, right?
I would imagine probably.
I mean, we got to finish it. We did the first two.
It does seem. I mean, I kind of want to stop, but I guess.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed with the last one, but I mean, this one, hopefully it's cool. The trailer made it look kind of cool. I feel like they also like spoiled way too much in the trailer, so that was a bit of a bummer.
Resume not watching the trailer ever.
Yeah. We also have Lyle Lyle Crocodile coming out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, based on the popular book series, live action CG musical comedy.
Oh, boy.
This looks horrible. I'm sorry. It just looks bad. Also, it looks like he's wearing a Florida Gators sweatshirt, and yet he's a crocodile. I don't know what that's all about. I guess you can be a Florida Gators fan even though you're a crocodile.
Seems kind of, well, I guess some sort of solidarity thing there.
Yeah, maybe. That's pretty much it for theaters. Let's take a look at what we have on Blu-ray. The 11th, so probably as you're listening to this or yesterday, depending on how quickly I can edit. We have American Rap Star. What is this about? Oh, this is about the like SoundCloud rappers like Lil Xan and XXXTentacion. You know, just the rise of SoundCloud rap.
Yep.
We have Frost, 5/25/77. We got Guardians of Time, Ghoster. Oh, that's like a Casper ripoff from the looks of it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it looks pretty bad. We got Spirit Halloween the movie. So
What?
not too many movies based on stores out there. But we have one here. Spirit Halloween the movie.
Incredible.
Are there any other movies that are based on stores? I know we have movies based on Disney rides
and you know,
condiments. Remember that one? Remember what was it, Food Fight or whatever, where it was like condiments? Yeah, board games. But I don't know about stores. I want to see like Walmart the movie.
Just Hills
the movie, James Way.
Oh, God.
James Way is a deep cut. I don't know how many people will remember that.
No, because I think that was a regional thing too, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
I think so.
I think it was one. It was one of one. You had to live in Red Line.
Oh, God. Yeah, anyway, Spirit Halloween, the movie, looks bad, so I don't know what to say about it. I like Spirit Halloween, the store. I think it's always fun to go in there, but yeah, the movie doesn't look great. It looks sort of like the Goosebumps movies, where like stuff comes to life after dark.
That would be crazy.
But it's definitely for kids. On the 13th, we have Dark Glasses. That's going to be on Shudder. This is the Dario Argento one, and because it's on Shudder, I would give it a light recommend if you have Shudder, just because it's decent. It's certainly better than like his. I mean, it's his first movie in 10 years, so it's worth a look. There's definitely some interesting aspects to it. Also on Shudder on the 13th, we have She Will. That one looks like it could be pretty interesting as well. On the 14th, is that Friday? Friday the 14th, yeah. We have The Accursed. What is this about? The Accursed. Mina Suvari and Sasha Grey. All right. Just two names I haven't heard in a little bit. We got Old Man. That's the new Lucky McGee one. I'll definitely be checking that out. Looks like it could be interesting. Stephen Lang. which the character that Stephen Lang is playing in this seems like very reminiscent of his character from Don't Breathe. Let's see, we got Piggy. That's another one that I'm interested in. This one played a lot of festivals, and I just never caught up with it. Accident Man, Hitman's Holiday. I gotta say, we didn't talk about it on the show because we had off, but I did see the original Accident Man a couple weeks ago.
Accident Man.
Yeah, it's such a terrible name, Accident Man. It's a Scott Adkins vehicle, and
Gotcha.
the first one's not too bad. It's based on a comic book, and the premise is kind of interesting. He's a hitman, but the way in which he kills people is by making it look like accidents. So he devises these like elaborate ways to kill people to make it look like an accident.
Okay.
The big issue that I had with the first one was that there weren't enough of those. Like it was mostly him just fighting other people.
Oh.
So
But
yeah.
doesn't that undercut the whole premise of who he is?
Yep.
It was an accident. I kicked the shit out of him.
Yeah. But at any rate, there's a sequel here that's coming out. So I don't know. The first one was fine. This one will probably be fine too. It looks like a pretty standard Scott Adkins thing. We got Lou coming out on Netflix. We got Halloween Ends on Peacock, as we mentioned. And it looks like that's about it for VOD. On Blu-ray this week, let's see, we have Shredder from 2001.
Oh, yeah.
What is this? This is Scorpion releasing. Death?
I see dead people.
Death to Snowboarders.
Uh-huh.
Okay, all right. Might give that one a look. We have To Kill a Mockingbird coming out in 4K. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure coming out in 4K. Let's see. Night Visitor from 1989. All right. That one looks interesting. Got The Score from 2001. I have a poster for The Score, actually, for some reason.
You have what?
A poster for the movie The Score, starring Robert De Niro and Edward Norton.
Okay.
It's a bad movie. It's a very bad movie, and yet I have a poster for it.
Is it a good poster at least?
Nope. It's a horrible poster.
You can throw it out.
I don't know where it is, so it might be gone. Actually, I think it's at my dad's house. I have like a million. I used to work at a movie theater, for those of you who don't know.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting it when I was working there.
You got a bunch of used shitty posters.
Oh, yeah. Some good ones, but a lot of shit. We got Cold Heaven from 1991. The Godfather series looks like it's coming out in 4K. Kind of surprised hasn't already come out in 4K. Like maybe this is some kind of, I don't know.
You think that would be one of the first ones when
You're
come
right.
out with that technology?
Definitely. Looks like there's another film noir pack coming out. This is the 9th set that's coming out. Oh. This contains Lady on a Train, Tangier, and Take One False Step. I need to fill out my film noir watching list here. Mortal Kombat Legends Snowblind.
Mm-hmm. Classic.
I will say that I think it was like the Scorpion one that came out a couple years ago was actually quite good. Like they're pretty high quality. Beast from earlier this year, that's the one with Idris Elba. Blind Fury from 1989. I want to see that. I have yet to see Blind Fury. Looks hilarious. Jack Frost 2, Revenge of the Mutant Killer Snowman. This is going to be part of the MVD Rewind collection. It's got a great cover. Nosferatu from 1922. There's a lot of shit. Barbarians from earlier this year. We have Tiny Cinema, Curse 3, Blood Sacrifice from 1991. Shark, The Beginning.
Yes.
We have, it's not a shark movie though. It looks like it's a martial arts action movie. We have Wire Room, Squeal from earlier this year. That was a weird one. That was a very strange movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's about a guy who gets kidnapped, and the people who kidnap him kind of like turn him into a pig, sort of.
Oh.
It's weird. It's kind of a weird one. It's good though. I'd recommend it. What about Criterion's this week?
Hey, we got two. We got Lost Highway. My dog's excited about.
Oh yeah, that's a biggie.
That's a big one right there. And then you got Frank Capra's Arsenic and Old Lace.
Mm-hmm.
Cary Grant.
Love that cover.
Mm-hmm. That is a great cover.
Cool. So two solid ones right there. A lot of good stuff coming out. October's always the best.
Such a great month.
Really is. All right, I think that's going to do it for this week. Thank you so much for listening. You can send us your questions and topics to podcast@filmpulse.net. You can follow us on Twitter @FilmPulseNet and @FilmPulseKevin. And if you have a minute, consider reviewing us on iTunes. That'd be great. For Kevin Rakestraw, my name's Adam Patterson. We'll see you next week.